Hello everyone, and welcome to another game I played on Ptcgo. For this match, I'm revisiting an old standby, Blastoise, Keldeo, Black Kyurem, mainly because it's appearing to do really well in tournaments right now. I decided to try out two different variants, sort of formulated for the current format. This one uses Electro for magnetic draw. And I'll play the other one at a later point, but I think you guys may like it. So I'm going to be starting off with Suicune. I just have one of here just for a tech. I'm going to level ball for a Squirtle. Looks like my opponent's playing a fairy deck. He starts off with a Xerneas. And I'm going to Ultra Ball away 2 energies. And I'm not sure what to get. I'm debating whether or not to go for Keldeo or Voltorb. Decided to go for Voltorb. And I just end my turn. I could Chorus, but I'd only get 4 cards, and that doesn't seem worth it. I hope my opponent puts down more things. He's going to put a Muscle Band down, then play a Sycamore. We see a Spritzy and a Mew on the bench. This is a interesting fairy build. You don't normally see Mew in these decks just because it's very weak. And we're going to see an attack. My opponent's going to attach 2 energy on to his Pokemon, 1 to Mew, 1 to Xerneas. Here I'm going to Ultra Ball away a Chorus and a Tool Scrapper, getting an Electrode, so this will allow me to Magnetic Draw. So I'm choosing to set up Electrode first. I'm not sure if this is the wisest move, but I do Magnetic Draw. That gets me a Squirtle, so now I can Chorus for 6. It's a little bit better. I do get a Black Kyurem off of this, so I will bench it, attach a Lightning Energy, and just end my turn. So now my opponent is going to evolve into Aromatisse. He plays down another Xerneas. And at this point, he can actually knock out the active Suicune with Xerneas if he uses its second attack. But we see an Ultra Ball first, and my opponent draws a second Xerneas EX. And then he plays a Chorus for 9. And EXP share goes on the Aromatisse. So my opponent is off to a fantastic start. EXP share also goes on to his bench Xerneas. He plays on a Fairy Garden. Plays a Catcher here. Gets a Heads, maybe for Squirtle, but he actually goes for Electrode. It was a little odd to go after this particular supporting Pokemon. So my opponent's going to send up Xerneas with the Muscle Band, and he'll be able to knock me out with Breakthrough, and then actually deal damage to something on the bench. Or actually, he doesn't do that. He hits me with a second attack, because Breakthrough would have been 10 short. Sorry for that. I do get another Voltorb. Let me put it down on the bench. And I'm going to Tool Scrapper away his Muscle Band and his EXP share off of Aromatisse. Then play an N. So I'm still not drawing the necessary cards to play Blastoise, but I will play down a Water Energy and just end my turn. Can't really do anything. I'm leaving Squirtle up as a sort of sacrifice. There's no real way he can take 2 Squirtle out in 1 turn, so I'm not too afraid of that. And I'm just going through my discard pile. So my opponent's going to use Fairy Transfer to move energy around, and then use Professor's Letter, maybe to bring 2 Fairy Energy. I don't see what else he would play. That's a basic in this deck. But it looks like he just draws 1, unless I have a glitch here, which is also always a possibility. So my opponent's going to use his first attack and hit Voltorb on the bench. I'm going to send up Suicune, at least because it can wall. I'm going to attach another Water Energy onto Black Kyurem. Here I play down a Squirtle, and then I'm going to end, ending my opponent down to 4 cards. And I still don't have the necessary cards to get Blastoise out into play, but I might be able to manually attach enough energy for a Black Ballista, which is kind of sad. My opponent's going to attach Muscle Band onto Xerneas, Then looks like a rainbow energy goes down on Aromatisse. He sends up his Xerneas, well, the non-EX variety, into the active. Looks like he's going to attack me with that. So I will at least get him to discard an energy in order to knock out Suicune, since he couldn't attack with Xerneas EX. And now my opponent has taken a total of 3 prizes, so kind of scary. So I'm going to send up Voltorb here. And now I have enough energy to attack with Black Ballista here with Black Kyurem. But I'm going to play Skyla here for a rare candy. I will be able to evolve into Blastoise here. And unfortunately, I still have Voltorb stuck in the active. I'm just going to end my turn. If he does knock Voltorb out, its ability on a coin flip can do 50 damage. So my opponent here is going to attach to Xerneas EX on the bench. And maybe retreat into that and attack me with that. But actually, he plays a catcher. So a second one and a second heads. So he's going to get Blastoise and catcher it out. Then he's going to Skyla. So I'm in trouble. He's going to Skyla for a Super Rod. And he's going to Super Rod back in a Fairy Energy. Or actually 3 Fairy Energies. And here he can actually get the knockout on Blastoise. So it took me so long to set up, but it got knocked out so quickly. So here I'm just going to Juniper my hand away, hoping I can rare candy into another Blastoise. And it looks like I actually can. So here I'm going to Heavy Ball for a Blastoise. And then just rare candy into it. So fairly happy this happened. And I'll be able to get the knockout here, actually. But the unfortunate part is I didn't draw any backup attackers. So I'm just going to Black Ballista here for the knockout. I didn't attach any extra energy onto Black Kyurem, just because these decks frequently play Mewtwo. So I don't want to give him any ammunition to do more damage. And he does play special energy, so he could always play Yveltal EX. And that's another big problem for me. Just going to promote a regular Xerneas, and I will take my first 2 prizes. And I'm still behind 2. So my opponent looks like he may just be trying to recover or accelerate some energy on this turn. He could attack me with Xerneas EX, but he does leave himself wide open for the knockout. He's going to Skyla, maybe for another Super Rod. He went for one of those, or another catcher, which would be scary since he's having really good luck with those. Just looking through his discard pile and the chat log, but yeah, nothing's happening. Instead, he goes for a laser. So I don't know how many he plays. That's certainly annoying. So he poisons me. And I am in trouble. He just needs to take one more knockout on an EX, and he has a game. But fortunately, I do have Keldeo, so I can rush in and retreat, or rush in and attack, actually. I don't want to retreat. He's going to attach a Fairy Energy, or move them around. One to the active Xerneas, where he'll be able to use its first attack to accelerate energy onto his bench. Again, I'm not really sure what Mew is doing here, since it seems more of a liability, but I don't play catcher in this deck, so I guess it's safe. So he's going to attach to the Xerneas and to the Mew, and I fortunately do wake up. He'll play down a Keldeo, a Squirtle, and here I can just Deluge onto Keldeo 4 times, and I'll be able to take the knockout. So this is, again, a little bit cumbersome and annoying. Deluging. Clearly I'm not all that great at it. We'll rush in and deluge onto Black Kyurem. So I actually won't take the knockout this way, but I do want to have energy on Black Kyurem. I managed to evolve, into Electrode so I can Magnetic Draw if I wanted to, but I choose not to. I put down a Keldeo, a second one, just to be able to rush in and have an alternate attacker. My opponent here is going to Ultra Ball. I kind of regret not attaching that extra energy onto Keldeo just to take the knockout here. But I am fearing just a Muscle Band and Laser combo for the knockout here. So I'm trying to power out multiple attackers. Here my opponent did Ultra Ball for a Mewtwo, so that's a little bit scary as well, since Mewtwo can deal quite a bit of damage to Keldeo because it requires so many energy. And my opponent has a lot of energy on his side of the field, so in total he has, looks like 5 energy. I have 3. Looks like he's attaching one more. Actually, he uses his turn to attack with Xerneas and attach 2 more energy. Here I'm debating what to do. I can take the knockout here with Secret Sword, but I'm actually going to retreat into Squirtle and try to take the knockout with Squirtle, just because he won't be able to take 2 prizes if he knocks out Squirtle. So I will attach a Water Energy to it, and I get a Superior Energy Retrieval. I'm sort of checking Squirtle's attack since you don't really use it, but on a coin flip it will do 30, which will be enough to knock out the active. I'm going to recover 4 Water Energy. I can deluge them onto Squirtle, and then the remaining energy onto Keldeo and onto Black Kyurem, so that I can have several attackers waiting in the wings. Here I can Magnetic Draw if I want to, but again I'm not doing it. And unfortunately I get a Tails on that attack, and my opponent survives the turn. So this turned out to be quite a misplay. I should have taken that knockout with Keldeo by attaching 1 more energy. But what do you know? Now I have to worry about that Mewtwo on the bench being able to take a knockout on a Keldeo. So here my opponent, I'm not really sure what he's going to do. He can knock me out with almost everything on his side of the field, since Squirtle only has 60 HP. And he's going to promote a Xerneas EX, transferring 1 energy onto Mewtwo. And here he'll be able to use Breakthrough to take the knockout on Squirtle and deal damage on the bench. It looks like he goes for Electrode, so Electrode is actually 1 short of the knockout. So here I'm going to Skyla, and actually notice my deck is pretty thin, so it's a little bit scary. I'm just going to get a Superior Energy Retrieval just to have in hand. And I don't want a Magnetic Draw now that I know my deck is thin. I will save that for when I need it. And I will Black Ballista here for the knockout and take 2 more prizes. And my opponent needs to take 1 more. So he's going to, I believe, keep 1 of his energies. So he can send up Mewtwo, but he won't have enough to knock me out. Instead, he goes for Mew. So I have enough cards in hand to take the knockout, but we see another Xerneas EX, and I don't realize it yet, but this means my opponent can win. He's going to Fairy Transfer onto Mew, and with that he'll be able to use Mew to use copy Xerneas' attack, Breakthrough, hitting Electrode for 30 and getting the knockout that way. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game. Bye.